I have job number 13187, and it's a faulty Nintendo Switch, and this one, for me, was quite funny. I don't mean, haha, let's laugh at the customer sort of funny. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Customer said they've got a Nintendo Switch, and their child has been playing on the Nintendo Switch, no problems at all. It just doesn't work on a docking station. Did say that they had put an incorrect cable into the charging port, and then after that, that's when it stopped working. However, it still takes a charge both ways on the charging port, no issues at all. I said, okay, so when did this actually happen? And they said at the start of the 6-week summer holidays here in the UK. So I think maybe like mid-July, and we're now at the end of August. So I press a button on the Nintendo Switch, I can see that the Switch is on with probably around about 50% battery. Then I looked at the charging port and I couldn't believe what I saw. The fact that this still charges, even in a docking station, it charges, but it just doesn't display an image. I was so shocked, I almost choked on the air. Let me show you under the scope. You're telling me that this port has worked and charged this Nintendo Switch for 6 weeks? Do you know what? The bottom pins are actually okay, but those top ones, what? How on earth has this been charging? You can clearly see that we've got probably about 5 or 6 bridged pins in this port. How is it still working? P13 USB, which is this chip on the back here. I don't know whether that's been affected. So maybe these crossing pins here have caused a little bit of a short and busted the chip, or maybe one of the filters that go into the IC. But the fact that this still works and charges is an absolute miracle. First things first, I think it's safe to say that we need to get this port off, and then we can start to measure around P13 USB. Because what I don't want is to measure around this now and get any false or inaccurate readings because of the mangled port. So let's get this port off, and then we'll be back underneath the scope to inspect this and give it a test. All the holes are now clear. I am just going to put a dip dab of flux. We're just going to get these pins clear, just so we don't scoot any of the results at all. We want this to be as clean as we can. Nicely done. Water's still hot, so we can just give it a wipe down without any isopropyl alcohol. Give it a little bit of IPA now. Now the board is a bit cooler. There we go. A nice clean pull. Again, this is said port now that we have it off. Look at that. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's check these readings, shall we? Around P13 USB. I think that mark there is just flux. Sean's going to shout at me and tell me to change my gloves again soon, I think, because they're extremely dirty. And to be fair, you guys as well are going to shout at me to change my gloves. All right, let's have a look. Meter in continuity mode. Do we have a short here? No, we don't. Okay. So the actual IC is fine. All right. I'm just going to check the filters. Make sure we're okay. We need it closer. I think that's close enough. What do you think? Make sure we get a good solid connection here. No. I definitely don't have continuity there. Or here. I'm not surprised, if I'm being honest. I'm not surprised at all. Let's check the other filters. That one's okay. Nothing across, which is good. So what we're looking for here is a continuous path through them. So here to here, but not diagonally. That's fine as well. That's okay. Nice. Last one. Good. Good. Just, it's not crossing, is it? Okay, so it seems to be just this little one here. And this goes straight into the IC. So again, I am just going to confirm one last time. It is quite a small one. No, nothing. All right. So let's get that swapped out. And I'm going to be taking it from this donor board here. And then again, I'm just going to confirm that we do have a continuous path on this one. Yeah, we do straight away. Nice. Okay, good. And not crossed? No. But they're good. They're good. Right. So we take it from this board and put it on the other one. This one off. My new small tweezers should be perfect for the job, he says. There we go. Oof. It's quite bad underneath. I don't think it's meant to look like that. I think you're still meant to have your solder mask. Apply a little bit of leaded just to give us a slightly better connection. Take it from the donor and just plop it into place like that. A little bit of flux. And away we go. Should see it bounce into place. I guess the position of it was actually okay then, because that seems alright to me. You can see solder solidified. Quick clean. Whilst the board is hot, just with a cotton swab. Take our multimeter. Do we now get a continuous path through this filter, or do we have something bigger at hand? No, that's fine. Perfect. Yeah, we have a continuous path, but nothing crossing over, which is good. And these ones are still good, right? Yeah, fine. Now, we simply replace the port to do this. Plenty of flux. And again, clean as we go. Fill up ground holes. A bit more in this one. There we go, nice. Again, just get rid of this flux that we have here. Flux isn't horrendous for the board, but what I will say is that if I have a lot of flux on the board like I do in this scenario here, I'm then most probably going to add more flux to put the port on to ensure that we get a solid connection underneath and that the solder flows properly. The issue with flux, or should I rather say when flux becomes an issue, is when you have so much in a charging port that it actually affects the charge. For example, if flux dries on the pins of a port, then you're going to have a real hard time getting a good connection between the charger and the port pins, and you're going to have conflicting information. You're going to think maybe you've done a bad port or something like that. The cleaner you have the area, the less of a chance of that happening. So why not just keep it clean? Same with the back here. A lot of flux came through because obviously we were soldering through the hole. We just clear up as we go. And I guess I've been doing that a lot more ever since I need to now, or I don't need to, but I do just tin the port to ensure that we have a solid connection on the second row of pins that you can't see. And again, obviously having the more flux on the board just makes it a little bit more prone to not making a good connection. Nice. We have the board off the edge. Bit of flux. Take our charging port. Heat up from underneath. You've seen me do this a few times, that's for sure, but I've not done one in a while, I don't think. Recorded, that is. I don't want you getting bored watching me, you know. So I'm just heating the bottom of the port, or the board, I guess, until we put the port on. Using quite a big nozzle tip for this, just to ensure we get an even amount of heat on all the connections. If you use a thinner tip, sometimes the ground will go, then the other pins will go, but then the ground goes back to being solid because heat moves quite quickly. So again, we're just rotating it, and we're just going to take our charging port now and just drop it on. Come away. Let that flow into place. Do a little tap down. We want to get this right. Which is, I believe, just about there. And then come off the heat. Let it harden. There we go. Lovely. Now we're going to touch up the pins. Now, they look pretty solid to me. However, I still like to go over them. Bit of flux. Tiniest bit of solder on the end of the iron just to secure that connection. You could probably just use the solder that's on the board. Just go over those pins one by one. And there we go. Quick clean whilst the board is still, again, hot. Get rid of all of that flux so we have no port interference with flux, which sometimes can't be helped. You still need to clean up in the port and stuff. It'll be impossible to get rid of all the flux unless you put it in an ultrasonic cleaner, I guess. But doing that every time would be rather annoying. I'd like to take pride in the work that I do, that's for sure. A drop of IPA just to finish up. Yeah, they are not going anywhere. I will, for the sake of science, just give them a little nudge. I'm very confident in these ones. Sometimes you can just tell. All good. Nice. Sweet. Now we can give it a test. Okay, we're looking for about 30 milliamps and 15 volts. Okay, yeah, 50 milliamps and drops down, 15 volts, perfect. And the other side. There we go, 40 milliamps, drop down to 0, 15 volts. Perfect. I don't know, screen looked like it glitched out there. I'm going to put it back in the housing. Hopefully it works on the docking station, and then we can call that a good job. Now, I may have cheated a little bit, and I may know what the result is. The good thing, the Nintendo Switch turns on. You probably can't see it from there. And then if I connect it to docking station, we should see any second now when it loads. We have an image to the TV. So that is going to be another happy customer. Hope you enjoyed this one. I just couldn't believe the state of that port and the fact that it was still working except for working on a TV. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.